In this video, I'm going to share 10 tips to guide your success when shooting luxury photography. Tip number 1, manage your time. If you're shooting twilight luxury photos, you're going to have to be aware of what time it is to give yourself sufficient time to shoot the best interior and exterior shots. From my experience, I start at sunset for the best interior shots. When 15 to 20 minutes after sunset hits, I head outside and start shooting away from the sun where the sky is darker. Then as the sky gets darker, I shoot towards the sun. One thing that has helped me get outside on time is to set my phone alarm for 15 minutes after sunset. Tip number 2, be efficient. One of the biggest ways to be efficient is to be intentional about what equipment you're using. If you're only going to take a few shots for a customer, having bulky equipment for each shot may not be the biggest problem, but most customers will likely want as many high quality shots as possible, and keeping your equipment set up minimal and lightweight allows you to move around with relative ease and capture a higher amount of quality shots. Tip number 3, time of day. Knowing the best lighting time of day for a particular property is very important, especially when shooting daytime luxury shoots. We prefer to do daytime luxury shoots when the sun is at its highest point in the sky. One thing to keep in mind for twilight luxury photo shoots is that some properties might look better at dawn. We almost always shoot twilight luxury shoots at twilight, but know that shooting at dawn is also an option. Tip number 4, listen to your customers. Some luxury photography customers are going to be more particular than others, so make sure to reach out and know what their goals are for the property, whether they're a home builder looking for website images, an agent listing a property for sale, or a designer or stager looking for social media content. Ensuring that you and your customers are on the same page, striving towards the same goal, will make for a successful shoot. Tip number 5, shoot single exposure when appropriate. Usually right after sunset, the exposure level on the outside of the home is pretty close to what the exposure level is on the inside. You'll be able to capture a lot of detail in the windows while at the same time capturing details on the interior of the home. When this is the case, you don't necessarily need to shoot multiple exposures if you're getting all the data you need in a single exposure. Save yourself some time and shoot single exposure when appropriate and move on to the next shot. Tip number 6, daytime exposures. Now at a minimum, you'll want to capture 2 exposures during the day, an ambient shot at exposure value 0 and a flash exposure exposing for the windows at exposure value -3. These are the default exposure values for our daytime luxury shoots. That being said, you'll have to use your best judgment when shooting. Make sure to preview the images in camera because you may need to adjust exposure adjustments based on the camera's light metering for a specific shot. For extremely large rooms, you will need to take more than 2 exposures. The number of exposures you'll take will depend on how powerful your flash is and if there are any window reflections. Just use your best judgment regarding the number of exposures you need to create a high quality image. For me, that number usually ends up being between 2 and 5. Tip number 7, give yourself enough time. If the customer orders a twilight luxury shoot, then we usually get there an hour or so before sunset to shoot the entire home during the day to get a feel for the best angles of the home. This will help you out tremendously when sunset arrives to know exactly which shots you want to take. It also gives you potential backup photos and bonus images you can deliver to the customer. Tip number 8, simplify your external lighting. When I first started offering luxury photography, I used massive floodlights, and setup and takedown would take a long time. We would have to run extension cords all over the property, as well as reset breaker boxes when they would trip during the shoot. Fast forward to today, we prefer a simplified lighting setup. We currently use a single, high-powered, battery-powered flash. This flash allows us to move around the property with ease, capture more shots, and has made training others a lot easier. Tip number 9, bring an extra person for extra large homes. For extremely large homes, we have 2 people at the shoot, one focused on the interior and another focused on the exterior. I've personally shot homes larger than 10,000 square feet by myself, but I don't recommend it. it's easier and less stressful to bring another trained photographer. It's a lot easier to maximize the best lighting when you have 2 people taking pictures instead of 1. Tip number 10, have backup equipment. Your customers will spend a lot of time getting the property ready for you to shoot. The last thing you want is for your equipment to fail and to have to come back another day because you weren't prepared for the unexpected. I recommend bringing extra equipment with you at all times. This would include an extra camera, extra flash, extra batteries, and extra SD cards. Pretty much anything that could potentially fail during a shoot, you'll want to have a backup for. This will make the shooting process less stressful, knowing that you have backups of everything should the unexpected happen. Alright guys, so these are 10 tips to guide your success when shooting luxury photography. If you guys have any additional questions, feel free to reach out. We'll see you guys on the next one.